And Shane. Kamen Rider Black Sun did a video about it not too long ago, breakdown and analysis of the trailer, and now that the show's come out and I've seen it, I have some thoughts. For people who aren't going to be familiar with this show, especially since I do cover a majority of American films on my channel, this might be a little departure, but I wouldn't recommend it for new viewers since it's kind of hard to get into and Tokusatsu can be a weird genre, I'm not gonna lie. I would say Black Sun is more for your average Kamen Rider fan, or fan of Kamen Rider Black 87. But for this video, I'm just gonna keep it short and simple. I'm just gonna make it non-spoiler all the way, and I think it deserves a much more in-depth video than I want to do here. The original Tokusatsu show was your basic 49 to 50 episode deal, with basic morals, basic characters, a little bit of intricacy, but it was still just a kids show at the end of the day. But it had that tiny little edge to it that the Tokusatsu of the 80s didn't have at the time. You can think of Kamen Rider Black as the Batman 89 of Tokusatsu. So when it comes to the reboot, Black Sun still follows Black 87 story very closely, with some minor changes and a heavier theme of discrimination against race and all that stuff. KOTOR's a bit like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in Logan. He's a bit hesitant to get back into the fight and wants to be on his own, but when the call to action happens, he goes to action. The other thing that also surprised me was the villains. They're not just mustache twirly, oh, I'm evil for evil's sake. They actually have a end goal of why they're becoming villains in a way, but that's also a very loose term for this version of Kamen Rider Black. Shadow Moon in the original 87 was just a brainwashed villain, but here you actually get to see him justify him becoming the villain of some sort, and that's no spoiler if you're already a fan. The best thing that Black Sun does differently from Kamen Rider Black or Black 87 is that it gives the characters of Kotaro, Nobuhiko, and even the villains much more better characterizations, and they're a lot more fleshed out. And since this is a reboot, everything's all kind of changed around, and it's no longer in that cliche Tokusatsu way where, oh, this guy's evil for evil's sake, or this person's good for good's sake. No, that's all been thrown out the window, and now you see good, you see evil, but then in good and evil, you see the gray areas. Aside from the characterizations, it differs itself from Black 87 with the more serious tone. It's also darker, bleaker, and even more violent. Like, something happens in the very first episode that I didn't expect it to happen, and it's kind of jarring, but also kind of cool. And the one thing I should also point out is that since I haven't watched a Tokusatsu show in so long, ever since Kamen Rider Drive, it's refreshing to see that natural lighting of just rubber suits and all that. And it didn't break the immersion for me at all, but that's probably just because I'm used to it, or I'm appreciating the practical effects behind Tokusatsu now. And the CGI isn't that bad either. I mean, it's passable. The special effects in this show really stand out from other Toku shows, especially the cinematography. I didn't expect the cinematography to be that great either, but it really outdid itself, especially in the fight scenes. The fight scenes weren't too jarring, and at least you could see all the movements happening, and yeah, the suits can be noticeably rubbery, but if you're already immersed into the story and the show, it's not going to bother you. Or if you've had a whole history of watching Toku for many years, then you're just going to kind of write it off. I should also address the elephant in the room. This show definitely does have a political theme to it, especially with the anti-Kaijin, anti-mutant, or pro-mutant, or pro-Kaijin. Black Sun does get very heavy on the segregation of mutants, humans, a lot of protesting, rioting. There's a lot of imagery that is very reminiscent to stuff that's happened in real life. These political themes would usually turn a lot of viewers off, but I welcome it into Tokusatsu since it feels more of a grounded in a way. and it can get heavy-handed, but for me, I was able to accept it without issue, even if it does repeat one certain line over and over that gets kind of annoying. People who've watched the show, you know what that line is. 1 gram. Overall, I think Black Sun is worth a watch for people who are fans of Black 87, but it might not be for every fan who was a fan of Black 87, just because it can get really bingey, I guess you could say, or you could probably suffer from binge numbingness, if that's even a word. So I would say take it one episode at a time. You don't have to really rush through it. Other than that, it was a good show. I'm a bit iffy on the ending, if I'm to be truly honest, but you're just gonna have to watch it to find out for yourself. And my spoiler video will probably be in the works also, and it'll delve more into the spoiler territory. But other than that, I'd rate Black Sun 5 out of 5 out of 10. It's not great, but it's not bad either. The one thing that I'll give it is characterizations. It gives tokusatsu characters a lot more depth than they usually would, and it's not very overt. Whereas usually the character would say a line that makes them evolve, but here you see them actually go through the change rather than say that they're gonna change. So that was a nice little change, I guess you could say, for this Toku show. Other than that, I'm looking forward to Shin Kamen Rider in 2023. Hideaki Anno is definitely gonna go back to the 70s roots, and it's gonna get interesting. Other than that, hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss my spoiler Black review. I will see you all later.